the reason I got this nice beer pong table is because of this engine right behind me. We are finally doing an engine build with the B18B. Head studs, maybe rods and pistons. Today, I hope we're gonna be able to take the head off this thing and inspect the bottom end and see what we need to do. So I got a table to lay all of our parts out on, and hopefully I remember how to put this thing back together. So yes, you guys heard that correctly. This engine is going to be getting torn down, refreshed, built, whatever you want to say. I'm not too sure what we're going to do with it yet. I know for sure it needs a new head gasket, head studs. We'll be replacing all the exhaust and intake manifold studs. Taking a look at the bottom end to see what we got to do. Getting a proper oil pan on there that has a bung, because this engine will be built for boost. Today, I wanted to rip the head apart and see what we can do there. I also bought some feeler gauges so we can adjust the valves, because last weekend I had loosened one just to take a peek at it. So we might have to set the valve lash back, but let's start tearing into this thing. First things first, we gotta pull the plug wires. Pull all the plug wires. Boom. You always wanna make sure you know what you're taking off and you know what you're doing. So first piece on the bench. Valve cover off. Second piece on the table. Next, probably be wise to get this thing untimed, because the cams have to come out in order for us to get at the head bolts, which I forgot are 12 points. Yo, this thing might have ARP head studs in it, because this thing was boosted. If this has ARP head studs in it, I'm not even gonna take it apart. Whoa. Yo. This thing has ARP head studs. This thing clearly has been boosted before. The block is shaved right here to fit a turbo, and it literally has ARP head studs. Yo, did we secretly, with all this time not knowing, did we get a built engine? Those are straight up ARP head studs. Okay boys, well I hate that I just got your hopes up, but I couldn't be happier right now. It appears we have stumbled across a built engine. It's got head studs and it's got some sort of beefy valve springs in there. You can just tell by looking at these valve springs that they are not stock. Like they're beefy and they're way shinier than the rest of the head. And you can easily tell that someone's been through this motor. Even when you come to the cam gears, you have someone writing intake and exhaust right on the cam gears. It's apparent someone's been through here. Fellas, this just keeps getting crazier and crazier. So the valves are shiny silver, so we know it has different valve springs. We know it has ARP head studs. I can't tell if these cams are OEM or aftermarket or not. There's not really many markings on cams, but let me know in the comments below if these cams look OEM or aftermarket. But if you come down here and look at the valves and the valve guides, look at those oversized valves and valve guides. So this thing has valves, valve guides, springs, retainers, head studs. These cams might be aftermarket. Oh my God. We have literally been sitting on a fully built B18 this whole ass time. And someone put that much work into a head, which Honda heads are already fantastic, VTEC or not. Why would they not put pistons and rods in it? For all I know, this thing has rods and pistons and is ready for 400 plus horsepower. It's got a fully built head stud. I'm about to drain this oil and maybe pull the pan, because I have a new oil pan gasket, and try to see if I can't see some aftermarket rods or something, because so far this thing's got a built head. And I've been sitting on it, pushing the corner, thinking it's a stock Integra LS engine. And we've been sitting on a built B18. Not what I expected. So pumped. But I also just pulled the dipstick, and there's oil on it. There is still oil in this damn engine. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain this oil. Alright, so oil is practically drained. I'm going to check the drain plug back in it. We're going to tilt this engine. Like, I want to tilt it upside down, but I'm worried all the oil is going to come up. All of what's left, but I just drained it, so there shouldn't be anything. I might pull the pan now and then rotate it over. I just don't want there to be a bunch of oil on the ground, so we'll see. I'd like to see if this thing's got built bottom end, because so far the top end is built. Okay boys, I think we're at the last bolt here. Move your hand. This is the last one, I think. You got her?
Yeah.
It's time to see if this thing's got a built bottom end. I am still in awe that we have stumbled across a built engine that's been sitting in the corner for so long. I can't believe I straight up took my built engine out of my car and replaced it with a stock engine. Granted, it's a Type R swap, B16A, it has VTEC, 9,000 RPM. Pure goodness, but I literally took out a built B18. Now we're gonna refresh it, put it back in the car with a fat turbo and make hella power. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up for right now. We're gonna go grab some food and we'll be back. Okay, back from a quick lunch. Now it's time to take off the windage tray and see if there is built bottom end in this thing. Okay, we've got this engine tilted over on its side. As you can see, we got our dipstick sticking out here, so let's pull this out. Needs a new dipstick anyways. Okay. Oil pickup is off. And there is our rotating assembly, boys. All right, let's have a little inspect here and see if I can see anything that resembles it being built. So boys, unfortunately, these are the stock rods, but we have a built head. So kind of the opposite with what you'd want to do to a Honda motor. Usually what ends up happening is the head and the pistons are okay, but these skinny rods like to fold under boost pressure. So let's see. It's really hard for you guys to see. Usually what tends to happen is that the heads are good, pistons are good, but rods like to fold with more than 10 pounds of boost. Unfortunately, to take the rods out, I need to take the head off, pull the pistons and the rods out in one. So then it's like you'd want to do rings, hone, pistons, rods, main studs, rod studs, new bearings, all that, which can run up a pretty hefty bill at a machine shop. And unfortunately in my town, the machine shops are not good with 4 cylinders, so I'd have to go to a town or two over and spend a bunch of money. But it does have a built head. So do we stop here, put everything back together and boost it how it is? Or do we finish ripping it down, spend a bunch of money taking it to a machine shop to get H-beam forged rods, maybe pistons, like I'd probably do pistons, they'd be factory compression, new rings, and a hone? Or do we just leave it how it is with a built head and head studs? Let me know in the comments below. We're putting it back together. I'm gonna slap the oil pan back on with the same old gasket, just a few bolts to hold it there, just so it's sealed for the time being. And I'm gonna post this video and see what you guys want me to do. Like, should we do a built end or should we just send it how it is? It'll be a lot quicker, easier, and cheaper for me to send it just how it is, rather than taking it apart and getting pistons and rods put in it. Maybe we could do that down the line when/if it blows up, because we are going to be running boost by gear, so hopefully that should avoid folding a rod. But we'll see. I want you guys to let me know. Comment, like, and subscribe, boys. Let me know. Forge pistons and rods, or keep it how it is, get the turbo kit sooner, and boost this thing to the moon. Comments are wide open. Peace.